So, now we're going to take the tools we handled so far and put into practical use. Whenever you had to reconstruct a logo, mostly it has been from a calling card, and if you had some bad luck, it would have been a calling card that was printed in full color, so it is impossible to vectorize. We have one prepared for you. Select import, go to the project file folder, in the subdirectory img, select badscan02 and press import file. Doesn't look half bad when you see it like this, but if you zoom in, you can see this is impossible to vectorize and without having to spend hours of adjusting the curves from the vectorization to the correct location. So it is better to just draw it from scratch, which is much more quicker than vectorizing it and do a lot of adjusting and tweaking to get it right. First, we have to set up the worksheet. The bitmap is on the main layer, so we're gonna lock the main layer so we can't accidentally move the bitmap. Select the main layer again, press the right mouse button and select new layer. Keep the default name or change it whenever you want it, whenever you want to. This will be the layer we make our artwork on. If you now select the guideline from the rulers at the side, you will see it will drop behind the bitmap. This is easily fixed. We select the guideline layer and drop it before the main layer and behind the layer we're going to draw on, and the guidelines will appear in front of the bitmap. We now would like to work in wireframe, so we select wireframe and our bitmap is gone, but it's no problem because with this toolbar you can select if you want it in a very simplified black and white. In the original quality the bitmap was or is in high color view, or the one we're going to choose in a simplified grayscale. Before you start drawing, check once if the layer you're going to draw on has a little red, yellow arrow in front of it. This will mean this is the active layer. If we look at this character, it is all the same width, so it shouldn't be so hard to draw this one. Zoom in a little, put a guideline here, put a guideline there. I'm going to select a rectangle tool, click it on one of the guidelines, press Ctrl key and drag till the other guideline. You have to be sure these two options, guidelines magnetic and nose magnetic, are active. We can now use this square to draw or drag guidelines to the other positions, nudge it into place, put the guideline over here, the end of this line, a guideline over here. If you use a square like this, you'll be sure that everywhere you put guidelines, they are on exactly the same width, vertically and horizontally. Zoom out a little, put this out of our view, zoom in. By the way, I'm zooming in with the middle mouse button, the little wheel, and I'm dragging it or rolling it up and down. Select the ellipse tool or circle tool, make it snap. You can see the little red dot where it snaps on the corner of two crossing guidelines. Press the Ctrl key and drag until you have the same rounding as your original. Press the Shift key and scale it down until the opposing outline. Press once on the right mouse button to leave a duplicate, and you have a circle or two circles that together make exactly the same width and height as these two parts of the character. Select both circles, arrange, combine, or use the shortcut key Ctrl+L. Select the drag tool. The curves here are almost invisible. We can do two things about this. Temporarily make the main layer invisible, but I'm just going to switch between view modus of the bitmap, and I will change this now to border. Select the lead vector, delete this one and this one. Select this curve and make them into a line. Select this curve and make them into a line. Why didn't I select this and this curve? It's easy, because if you do this, this curve is also selected, and if you press line, this one will become a line also. Put the notice to the correct guideline. Leave the drag tool. Make a copy of it, because we can use it later on. If you go back to simplified grayscale, we see that this part is exactly the same as this part, so we can use the one we drawn here. We don't have to do the work twice, but we have to mirror it. We can choose Arrange, Transform and Mirror dialog, but I think this is too much trouble. So I'm going to show you a neat little trick. Press the Ctrl key, select this handle, drag it until it switches around its own axis, press once on the right mouse button, and the object is vertically mirrored. Make yourself life, or make your life a lot easier by, when you have to snap this object onto this guideline, you can see the distance is very small, and you always, even when we zoom out a little farther, it is practically impossible to switch or let it snap on the position you want. The distances are too small. Very simple. Select it, Ctrl key, release, and then put it on the correct position. Select these both, press Ctrl+L to combine it, J to close, delete button to remove that node, J, delete. Much more quicker than constantly have to select this button and then this button. We can use this again later on, so we put one copy over here, and now we're going to use it right here. So select it, Ctrl key, drag, click on the right mouse button. We have a mirrored copy. First to this guideline. I'll put it back into grayscale so you can see what I'm doing. Then select this node and drag it onto this part. Now you can see that these are not lining up exactly, no problem. Select only the top nodes, drag it farther than you have to, and then drag it back until the correct location. Select these objects, Ctrl L, J, delete, or if you don't want to use shortcut keys, join and delete. Now we have to make this part. Zoom in, circle tool, till it's about the same rounding. Back to wireframe, or border view in this case. Convert it to curves. Delete this part. Click once. Select this part and make it into lines. Previous tool, mirror. Select them both. Ctrl+L. J, delete. Zoom out. Make a copy over here. Drag it over his own axis. First, snap it into this guideline, then onto the bottom one. Zoom out again. Select all the objects you need. Ctrl L. And you can also use this tool. If you use this tool, you can take this line, drop it on this one, and it will automatically close. But I myself like J, delete, better, because I still have to delete. Oops. Zoom in because I'm selecting the line. So I like J, delete better. But it's all a personal preference. Now we got the perfect S shape made. Go back to grayscale view, and if we look here, we only need two parts, and I've deleted or used up the other part, so I'm gonna select the S, make a duplicate of it, the cut tool, escape, arrange, break apart, shift select, so, and I got it back. Make it a little shorter here, make a copy of it, make a copy of the square, put the square in the correct position, guidelines, delete the square, because now I did make a copy of it. Click on it once to get in rotation mode, press the Ctrl key, rotate it 90 degrees, put it first to this guideline, then to this one, mirror it over its own axis, drag it to the bottom, combine them, and connect the nodes and delete the ones you don't need. In a few seconds, if it weren't for my mistake in the beginning, we now have the letter I, and I leave the rest of the logo up to you and try and exercise the way we've shown you here.